Hello once again, Doctor Who fans, and welcome to another video in which I ramble on, or reminisce depending on how you look at it, about all things Doctor Who. Today I'm going to talk to you about what is the first ever Classic Series DVD which I got as part of this massive Doctor Who DVD collection, as previously I've done videos about my first ever DVD which I got as part of this collection, so if you haven't already then I highly recommend that you check that video out. And while I'm at it, I might as well say that I have done a video covering all of the DVDs that I own in my Doctor Who collection. It's over 2 hours long, so I'm sure that you might have a spare moment or two to watch that at some point. So without further ado, we're going to stop rambling on. I'm going to talk to you all now about my first ever Doctor Who DVD, which got me into the Classic Series. It's quite funny really, because my first ever Classic Series DVD didn't come until 2011. I previously had quite a bit of knowledge about the Classic Series, having watched quite a number of YouTube videos and reading things from the Doctor Who wiki page to actual Wikipedia. And I suppose what really made this happen was the fact that I joined a Doctor Who society at my college, and this was late 2011. And I remember thinking, well, they were showing this particular story as part of the society. It was like an after college thing on Wednesdays. It was usually fortnightly every Wednesday, and it was really good. I think I ended up being like the biggest nerd out of that whole group of people, because a lot of people in there loved Doctor Who, but I just found a real fascination with the Classic Series, and the story in particular which got me into that was the story I'm about to show you now. And having watched that in the society, I thought this is something which I want to own, because I only saw a couple of parts of this episode and this is 6 parts long. And to some viewers this may not become as a huge surprise, because this is hailed as one of the greatest stories in Doctor Who history, and quite rightly so. It's Genesis of the Daleks, and we all know about this. We all know about the sticker and the amount of legacy that this has left behind, because it's the first ever story to feature Davros, and it's just legendary for that fact alone. But there's also a few other facts about this, one being that it was the whole origin story, if you will, for the Daleks, hence the title Genesis of the Daleks. And I remember watching it back in the day. I remember really enjoying it, and I think at some stage after I started collecting more of these Classic Series DVDs, I think at one point I mistakenly thought that this was overrated. I mean, it may not necessarily be my favourite ever story in the world, but it's certainly up there. I'd say it's certainly in my top 10 or so, absolutely. This is a masterpiece. It goes without saying. Genesis of the Daleks is a masterpiece, and I really love this DVD release. And why I love the DVD release is not only due to the story itself, but it has a ton of special features, something which the vanilla DVDs, which you can just see down there, yeah, they kind of lacked those. It was just the episodes on DVD. I know that they ended up having special features like with the box set releases that came out afterwards for each series from the revived era, but I just really love the amount of effort that was put into this, and well, the whole majority really of the DVDs that have been released as part of the classic Doctor Who range. Genesis of the Daleks really is just one of the greatest stories of all time. The acting is superb. I think the writing is superb. And even though it's called Genesis for the Daleks, yeah, the Daleks don't feature that much. I mean, the main star of this show, if you will, is Davros. Every time he's on screen, he just steals the show. Tom Baker is on fine form, and this was only his 4th story. We have Ian Marter as Harry Sullivan. He kicks ass in this one. And then we have, of course, the legendary Elizabeth Sladen as Sarah J. Smith. I really miss her. Every time I watch this, I always remember that time when I was only just the learner about this classic series. There was a whole lot of things to experience. All of this behind me, I had none of this. I had none of these DVDs. All I had was new series stuff all the way up to Series 6. That was it. It's quite mad to think of that. And then here we are, 9 years later, talking about it with a more or less complete DVD collection. And it's just mad, really, that it started with this one. And I'm really glad that it did start with Genesis of the Daleks, because this is a really good jumping on point, I feel, for the classic series, because it's got everything. It's got the staples of classic Who. It's got great writing, as I said, great actors, a great villain in Davros, and in my opinion, it's not been topped ever since. It is the quintessential Davros story. Whether it's the quintessential Dalek story, there are a few other contenders out there, but I suppose that's another video entirely. I actually sat down and watched this twice on 2 nights. I watched it all in one go on the first night, and then I did the same again on the next night after I bought it, because I just loved it that much. And I don't think I've ever had any experience like that with many of the other stories from the classic series. I mean, there's loads up here that I absolutely love. You'll find out all about that in my DVD collection overview, what I've just done. But as far as stories like this go, I have a huge amount of nostalgia. I remember the time of my life again. I remember it was college. It was only like the first few weeks of college, so there was quite a lot of changes going from high school to sixth form. And I remember like being absolutely petrified. But then we had things like the Doctor Who Society, and it was sort of comforting in a way. It was a little bit of downtime where I could just enjoy my favourite TV show at college, and it was just an amazing time, and I met some great people there, and it was another chapter in how I became a classic Doctor Who fan. If you're looking to get into classic Who, then this is absolutely the best starting point. I do not regret it to this day. One of the greatest memories I have as a Doctor Who fan, and it's one that I shall cherish forever. So there we have it, guys. Thank you very much for watching this video, all about my first ever Doctor Who DVD from the classic series. It's not as extensive as the other video I did about my first ever DVD all about Doctor Who, but I still really just enjoy watching this every now and again. This is where my love for the classic series truly began, and I've not looked back since, and I don't think I'm ever going to look back, to be honest with you. It's been a pleasure as always making this video for you guys. Do us a favour, hit the bell and press that subscribe button for more notifications, and stay tuned for all the latest videos from me right here. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.